Welcome back to WSAV News 3 today at 11. June is Men's Health Month, a time to raise awareness about preventable health problems, motivate men to schedule routine checkups, and break the stigma around mental health. Board-certified family medicine physician and founder and CEO of Harvest Health MD, Dr. Jamal Lawrence, joins us now to talk about the top reasons men avoid going to the doctor and why it is costing them years of their life. Thank you so much for being here. You look rested after a few weeks not being here in the studio.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's always a pleasure having you. Before we get to the top reasons, let's talk about the stages of life that men are considered to do certain things. I know this applies to men from 15, and I guess that's not a man, that's a teenager, but from the ages of 15 to 65 generally is what we're looking at.
Yeah. And so early on in stages, you want to try to set good behaviors and to really see the importance of checkups. You know, typically people will get an annual checkup yearly if they're generally speaking healthy. From teenage to early 20s, we really want to continue to enforce that habit, as well as paying special attention to mental health, anxiety, depression, paying attention to sexual health as well. That's one of the higher ranges where we see sexually transmitted diseases, and so we want to make sure that people are using protection, are being cautious. When you get into your 30s, you're kind of transitioning a little bit more into adulthood, and so you really want to start to screen, if you haven't been already, for high blood pressure, for elevated blood glucose, for cholesterol, and you really start that in your 40s. As well. 40s is when I see a lot of people start to come to the doctor saying, hey, I'm getting a little bit older. Yeah. I just want to start to get ahead of things. But I really love to see people in their 30s because then we can focus more on prevention. As you may or may not know, we talked about this a little bit before, 45 is where we start to do colorectal cancer screening. Yes. 55, we get into prostate cancer screening, which is specific to men. So there are different stages that we really want to encourage different focuses on health, but overall, the goal is to focus on prevention and early detection.
And this same age group generally do not go to the doctor as much compared to women. And so now we're talking about the reasons why.
Yeah, absolutely. And so there are a few reasons. One that we often hear is inconvenience. And what it quite boils down to is just men aren't making it a priority. Right, and so we often say in the wellness community specifically that if you don't make time for wellness, you will be forced to make time for illness. Yeah. And so it's really important that we try to get ahead of things before you end up with issues that are worse off than if you would have dealt with them early.
Also, avoiding being vulnerable.
Yeah, and so that's one we see a lot. According to a national survey by Cleveland Clinic, about 20% of men have shown that they haven't been completely honest with their doctor when they go there, for fear of judgment, for the societal norms of men being the providers and being stoic. And so we really want to de-emphasize that aspect and focus on, if you want to be a provider, it's important that you are healthy. It's important that you are doing the things that you need to do to take care of yourself so that you can take care of the people around you.
And also fear of getting bad news, which is like, if you don't get the bad news, then you won't know how to treat it.
Absolutely, I hear that conversation. And this list, I'm focusing on men, but this really applies to women as well. It applies to everybody. We hear that a lot. I don't want to come in because I don't want to get bad news. Well, you're already feeling the symptoms. You're already experiencing something. You not knowing doesn't make it go away. And the longer you wait, the more it ends up potentially being a negative experience.
Finances also play a part.
Yeah, and so the biggest thing we hear there is insurance. If they don't have insurance, they assume that they can't see a doctor. Particularly in the direct primary care space, I've been really a mouthpiece for saying that just because you have health insurance does not mean that you actually have access to a doctor. And just because you do not have health insurance doesn't mean you can't see a qualified doctor. Yeah. And so, people really, we want to kind of decouple the mindset of insurance equals healthcare, because it does not. It's just a way to pay for healthcare. Healthcare is what you receive from the healthcare professional.
So you have another particular topic that you say is the most important.
What I've seen, I have a couple of patients in mind in particular, but even a family member as early as, or as recent as in the last 2 weeks, unpleasant experiences. And so this is one of the reasons why I went into direct primary care, because healthcare has become quite cumbersome. It leaves a lot of people bewildered, confused, with expenses that they did not realize that they would have, and a lot of times with more questions than answers. And so, oftentimes I'll get the wait time was too long, or they didn't seem like they cared about my time, or they hadn't experienced bad bedside manner, or just not understanding the medical plan or not agreeing with the medical plan. Hey, they tried to put me on meds, I don't want to be in it, nobody explained to me why.
Yeah.
And so it's really important that even though we may have negative experiences, we still need to still need to prioritize our health and find the answers that we need. In particular, with these negative experiences, what usually happens, or what I've seen happen, is that the patients just stop going. So you get a referral, you may get a scary diagnosis of cancer, the way the information is delivered, and you just stop follow-up. We send you to a referral, they can't get you scheduled, and you said, it's wasting my time, and you don't even bother to follow up. Well, I still need you to go get your heart checked. I still need you to follow up on that biopsy result. And so those are the experiences that I've had, that it's really important that we emphasize unpleasant experiences may happen, but you are still a consumer and you have the option to go elsewhere. And one of the things that I want to harp on that we don't hear too much is the second opinion. That used to be a thing back in the day, and somewhat it seems like people don't even realize that they can choose to go somewhere else if they don't have a pleasant experience.
So we're running out of time, but you do have a call to action.
And so, I want to tell everybody to go and find a healthcare professional that you know, like, and trust. Make sure that you get your annual visit scheduled, and for more information, you can follow me at harvesthealthmd.com.
Look at him becoming a professional, looking at the right camera. We see you, Dr. Lawrence. And you can find more information to see this interview again anytime by going to our website. That's at wsav.com. You can also join the Harvest Health MD email list for more health advice and information. Right now, it's time for a look at our forecast. Good morning, Alyssa.
Well, I wanted to start off with just an absolutely gorgeous sunrise time lapse that we saw this morning. It was cloudy out there, but sometimes the clouds add a little extra pink of orange and pink in the sky, and of course it's what we saw this morning. And as we continue to track that cloud cover over the next couple of days, expect to enjoy a few more beautiful sunrises. As of right now, still tracking that cloudy sky out there. We'll see a few peaks of sunshine, though overall it's not looking like it's going to completely rain, though of course we have a low chance of a light sprinkle at times just due to a nearby system. As of right now, though, we're staying in the 70s at 78 degrees here in Savannah to 83 degrees right now in Beaufort. There's that nearby storm system just sitting to our north that's locking in the cloud cover, but it's also allowing for a few light sprinkles, mainly to our western areas, that we could see a light sprinkle or two over the next couple of hours. But throughout the rest of this work week, we are back to tracking the heat and the humidity. Lots of hot sunshine, at least for the first half after today. And then rain gradually increases as we head into the second half. Now, overall, if you want to have lunch outside today, it's still decent out there. It is a bit warm, just a bit sticky. We're not still seeing the bugs come out just yet. That will arrive over the next couple of days as, of course, that moisture continues to increase. 91 degrees for the high today here in Savannah to 88 in Sylvania and 89 degrees for the high today in Statesboro. Now, a few peaks of sunshine will be possible for today. Tomorrow, still tracking nearly the same weather story. A mix of sun and clouds, staying hot and humid. That southeast wind just continues. Once again, the same thing for Wednesday, with that south wind really not going anywhere over the next week. Now, we have been enjoying dry conditions thanks to that northeast wind late last week, but of course, since the weekend, that has changed. That southeast wind continues to bring in the warmth, brings in the humidity, and that's also going to allow for those dew points to increase, and eventually we'll begin to increase our feel-like temperatures. You can see by the end of the week, there is a possibility we are tracking triple-digit heat index values for the end of the week into the weekend. The good news is, at least by the weekend, if you're lucky enough, you'll see a few rain showers, and that should help cool you down for at least a few minutes to get away from the extreme heat that we'll be tracking later on this weekend with morning lows in the 70s.
This is the time of year that we pray for rain, but not storms.
I know, because sometimes you get the rain and it just gets humid immediately right after. There's no relief anywhere.
Alyssa, thank you.
I'm trying.
I guess. Coming up next, a massive fire destroys 2 homes on Tybee over the weekend. We'll have a live report from the scene coming up after the break. Stay with us. You're watching WSAV News 3 today at 11. We'll be right back. Welcome back to WSAV News 3 today at 11. Several families are picking up the pieces this morning after a weekend fire destroyed 2 homes on Tybee Island. One of those belongs to Tybee Island City engineer Peter Gulbranson. WSAV's Isley Herschel joins us live this morning from the scene on Jones Avenue. Isley, good morning. What do you know so far?
Kim, good morning. The damage here at this home is still very evident. We can even still smell the smoke out here from last night. I'm going to step out of the way so you guys can take a look at what we're seeing here. As you can see, the roof of this first home has been completely collapsed. The inside of the home is completely damaged. Firefighters were dispatched yesterday afternoon to this duplex on Jones Street. Now, I'm told by neighbors in the area that the fire started out in the back and has engulfed the first home on the left, and then it spread to this home on the right here. That's the home of the city engineer. And we don't necessarily know how this fire started yet. They are still investigating that. We're going to keep you updated both on air and online as we get that information, but we do know that everybody in the home was okay, but one dog did pass away. On Tybee Island, Isley Herschel, WSAV News 3, on your side.
Thank you, Isley. Of course, we'll have more on this story for you throughout the day, both on air and online. Stay with us. You're watching WSAV News 3 today at 11. We'll be right back. Welcome back to WSAV News 3 today at 11. Local first responders and other community heroes took a bow during a special gathering over the weekend. Saturday night, Urban Christian Academy hosted its inaugural Ribbons in the Sky Gala. The Black Tie Affair was a dinner and live music and honored leaders in our community whose service strengthens and uplifts those around them. Among the honorees, a few familiar faces: Savannah Police Chief Lenny Gunther, yours truly, and WSAV's Tina Shaw. The event also served as a fundraiser for Urban Christian Academy to assist in their mission to help develop young leaders through education, character, and service. And the Love and Soul Family Festival returned for its 9th year over the weekend. This year's event featured 2 full days of live music, food trucks, as well as fun and educational activities at the Tanger Outlets and Pooler. On Saturday, Tina Shaw served as the mistress of ceremonies for this year's spectacular. Coming up next, hurricane preparedness advice with Bryan County EMA Director Allie Padgett and Communications Manager Nicholas Beard. Stay with us. You're watching WSAV News 3 today at 11. We'll be right back. Welcome back to WSAV News 3 today at 11. Hurricane season is underway, and with summer approaching, we can expect a pattern of storms along the way. The Bryan County Emergency Management Agency, or BEMA, is ready to assist residents with emergency preparedness, response, and recovery. Allie Padgett is the agency's director. Nicholas Beard, he might be a familiar face to WSAV. He's Bryan County's communications manager. They join us now with some advice to keep you and your family safe. Allie and I, we're kind of tugging both ends of Nick because she wants him there. We want him back here. But,
awesome.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here. Before we begin, let's talk about BEMA and what you do in general.
Sure. Well, so BEMA is a fairly new agency. We divided from the fire department, and so now it's its own entity. So we're building the program per se. So right now what we're doing is we're writing all of those plans, getting a training curriculum in place, and also writing some exercises, because if you have a plan and you can't make it operational, it's really not worth the paper it's written on, right? So what we're doing right now is a lot of outreach. We're trying to get with the communities and get with the HOAs and go and speak to the communities about how they can be better prepared, not just for hurricanes, but for all of the natural disasters that we are susceptible for in Bryan County. And also just explain to them about what we do in the response effort and on the recovery side, that we'll be with them through the entire process.
And Nick, you're a part of that plan because you are the person who helps spread the word and gets the community on board with what you're doing.
Exactly. It's all about communications, and it's about getting the message out to the public. We like to say that government, we have the answers for everything, but our biggest thing is making sure that the public is prepared beforehand. That's the biggest message we can say, is always be prepared. We always promote have to-go plan, have your kit ready, and just be prepared. And like I tell people, not even, we're really good for planning about hurricanes in this area. But I'll say have your what if I need to go right now plan, because it may be something, we have natural disasters, but what about man-made disasters? So if you need to evacuate immediately, what's your plan, not just what if you need to evacuate 5 days from now for a hurricane.
Yeah.
So my part comes in is Allie does the operations. I get the information out as soon as possible, and also making sure it's accurate, because there are a lot of rumors that can go on our media. It's our job to try to make sure it's the factual information we have for the public.
And trying to combat disinformation and misinformation on social media, that's a task in itself.
That's a job in itself, it is.
Let's talk about recent storms.
Sure.
Helene, Debbie, we know that Bryan County, although it's not on the coast, it was hit really hard with wind and destruction. And a lot of people think because you're not Savannah or on the island,
Right.
it won't affect you, but that's not the case.
No, so you can feel the wind bands, you know, pretty far inland, depending on how strong the category of the hurricane is, or even a tropical storm. We can feel tropical storm force winds very far inland, actually. And you know, Helene was a perfect storm of great sequence of events for everyone, really and truly. But we are really focused on, you know, learning things and preparing a little better in Bryan County to combat things like that, especially those perfect storms that come in, because, you know, to me, a natural disaster is an act of God, right? And what you can try to predict it all you want to, but all we can really do is prepare for the act of God, instead of saying, oh, well, here's a 58% chance that it could happen. So what I try to preach to Bryan County is just stay prepared year round. If you have questions, call me, ask me. We go and talk to the kids at school. And Nick is incredible, he and his team, about running our Facebook page and getting out that information. Like, I don't know what I would do without them, to be quite honest, because it's a full time just to deal with me in itself. But yes, you know, I think every EMA learned from Helene and Debbie and took some lessons learned and are implementing it now into their programs.
And because of that, you've revamped your emergency operations plan.
Yes, ma'am. I felt like I was doing my senior dissertation again.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, so me and my team rewrote the emergency operations plan, and we kind of used a BEMA template because they have a decent template that we can go by, but you also cater it to your county. So we have 19 emergency support functions where we have primaries and secondaries in that will be operational with us should we have a storm and we need to activate the emergency operations center. So all the gurus and decision makers will be right there in one area together so that we can respond quickly.
And Nick, the fun part of a serious topic is getting the children involved, and that's where Tornado Alley, which I think is so clever, comes in.
Yes.
And like you said, it is a serious topic, but if you get the kids involved, then the parents are definitely more likely to tune in, because everyone loves their kids and want to keep their family safe. So if you start with the kids and the kids understand it, then they go home and tell parents, hey, Tornado Alley, and she's such a good sport. I mean, a lot of people are like, I'm not dressing up like that, but I mean, she's, whatever we throw at her, she's game, and and you can see right here, she just goes for it. And a lot of the parents will be walking in to different restaurants, and even the parents know her. They're like, oh my God, that's Tornado Alley. That's Tornado. We'll be in a local restaurant.
Not the director of BEMA, but Tornado Alley.
It's okay.
Because their kids have come home and told them about Tornado Alley, but they also tell them what they learned. So it's fun, but they actually remember the information that they learned because of Tornado Alley. And just to see that it actually works, and the kids are going home telling their parents about it, and the parents recognize us in stores or whenever we go out in public, and they call, you're Tornado Alley, you're Tornado. So she's like a local celebrity now. But it's working because the kids understand, and the parents definitely take it more seriously.
And that's the goal, to get the word out to more people, to know, to get ready now and how to prepare.
Exactly.
Yes. And it makes it a fun way for the kids to learn as well. I mean, I have small children, and if they're not interested, then you know you've already lost it. So I did order more debris for my tornado this year. So I look forward to getting back in the schools and doing that again.
All right, Allie, Nick, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
And here's the information on your screen. You can find more information and see this interview again with Allie, who, by the way, is sockless. She didn't want her mom to know, and so is Nick. You can see it anytime on our website. Oh, you do have on sockless. I just didn't see.
Just me.
Visit WSAV.com/community corner.